Hey everyone, Chris Stoltz coming at you once again from the MuppetStuff Museum, and today I have some recent thrifting and more acquisitions to show you. First up is the Sesame Street Book of Fairy Tales, put out in 1975 and illustrated by Joe Matthew. Sadly, there are pen marks and drawings throughout the book. However, I had yet to find this book out in the wild, so for, I think it was 50 cents, I picked it up anyway. Next, we have a copy of Grover's Adventures Under the Sea, which is a peek-aboard book. And what makes these books interesting is the holes where you peek through actually create other images. So here we have Grover scuba diving, and you open it up, and there's Grover kind of hidden there. But now the next flap is over here. And even though it creates this image, it's actually going to be something else. It's a bunch of tentacles from an octopus. And then the hole over here that we just came through completes the image of the crab. And then the next hole is up here, which, as you can see, completes this picture of the fish. But when you go through, it's actually a whale. And so it completes the picture of the whale. The next one down here, we go through, and it's actually a jellyfish. But then look, the one we just came through completes this picture of the fish. And then the next one's up here, and it's like, I don't know, this one doesn't quite complete as well as the other ones do, but all right, we'll go through that one. And it's an eel, okay, and then down here, see, it completes this picture here, but let's go through and see what it is. And it's a treasure chest. And when you go back the other way, that completes the picture of this fish. So it's really well done how the holes not only go through to the next thing, but complete the other side of the picture as well. So these peek-aboard books are interesting, not just because they're Muppets, but because they're just really well done, and it's nice to see the artistry involved. And this was put out by Random House in 1989. Next, we have Bert and Ernie's Great Adventures Treasure Hunt. If you're not familiar, Bert and Ernie's Great Adventures was a stop-motion segment that appeared on Sesame Street for a number of years. So here we have a play-a-sound book based on those sketches, but while the battery in the soundboard no longer works, of course, books always function. And it's neat to see these still frames used in the books, because it's great to see the detail used to create the shorts. Next, we have the Sesame Street Silly Stories, Oscar's Silly ABCs and Other Stories, put out in 1987. I really like how the book opens with Oscar having mustached paintings of his Sesame Street friends. Next, we have the Great Sesame Street ABC Hunt, put out by Me Books in 1975, which were a series of books that you could buy and personalize. So this book was all about Ian Mederick from his Aunt Josie and Uncle Lou. It features Ian on an adventure with the Sesame Street gang. What I found particularly interesting about this book, though, was the illustrations by Carol Nicholas. As you can see, there's Snuffleupagus back there. He's just like this blob of fur. A lot of the other characters have an odd look to them as well. It's definitely interesting to see. So here we have Mr. Hooper, Big Bird and Snuffy the Blob, Maria, Bob, and Susan, or maybe that's Louise, I'm not quite sure. This was put out when Snuffy was only seen by Big Bird and not the rest of the cast. So at the end of the book, he asks Ian if he has seen Snuffy. Of course, he has, but no one else believes him. And I'm glad they stopped that whole plot because it just got ridiculous. Next up is a pack of Sesame Street Math on the Go cards given away at select PNC Bank locations. So here we have Elmo and some honkers, Ernie and Rubber Ducky, Grover and a parrot, Harry Monster and a bird, Elmo and some snowmen, Bert and Ernie, Big and Little Bird, Elmo and Super Grover, Cookie Monster and Abby Cadabby, Sherlock Hemlock and Elmo, Barkley, and Rosita. The interesting thing about these Math on the Go cards is they're not flashcards about math. They're just like other terms that kids can learn about, like top and bottom, side to side, backwards and forwards, and so forth, but not math cards. So I'm not sure why they call these Math on the Go. It's sort of just like terms on the go, or just things to know on the go, or something else to know on the go, but I don't see how math is really involved. They subtracted the math from this entire thing. Maybe that's what they're talking about. I also found this program from Shipstad and Johnson's 1975 Ice Follies. This production featured a Sesame Street segment that proved to be so popular, it launched the still touring Sesame Street Live. I also found this copy of the Sesame Street Songbook Volume 1, put out by Warner Brothers in 1972. The cover features the Sesame Street sign and musical instruments hanging out on Sesame Street, but unfortunately there are no other illustrations of any other songs or characters. Inside is just a basic piano book with music and lyrics. So I don't quite understand this. They have the rights to the songs, but not the rights to the characters, which is kind of weird, but that's what also makes this stuff interesting as well. On the back is a list of these songs included: Sesame Street, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, I've Got Two, Going for a Ride, What Are Kids Called, Everybody Wash, One of These Things, Up and Down, Green, being green, Somebody Come and Play, I Love Trash, A Face, J Jump, The People in Your Neighborhood, Rub Your Tummy, Number 5, The Song of Five, 5 People in My Family, Nearly Missed, and Rubber Ducky. I also came across a whole bunch of Muppet Babies board books, just pretty much all right together. I could see all the Kermit faces on the spines. I already had one of them, so let me show you which ones I did pick up. We have Baby Piggy in Bye Bye Crib, Baby Kermit in Bye Bye Blankie, Baby Piggy in Bye Bye Pacifier, Baby Kermit in Bye Bye High Chair, and not one, but 2 copies of Bye Bye Bottle, which, upon further inspection, are actually 2 slightly different releases. These are all part of the Bye Bye series, and I think we're done with them, so bye-bye. But we're not going to say bye-bye to the Muppet Babies just yet, because I also found this Muppet Babies Toys and Fun coloring book. Unfortunately, a couple of the pages were colored, but for the most part, it's still in mint condition. So I'm on the hunt for one that's totally mint and not colored in, but in the meantime, this version will do just fine. This was put out in 1986 by Happy House and features illustrations by Guy Gilchrist. So between the Muppet Babies and the Muppets are the Muppet Kids, which are the preteen kind of middle school-esque aged versions of the characters in somewhat more grown-up situations than Muppet Babies, but obviously not quite adult situations like the regular Muppets would be found in. So here we have Muppet Kids in New Kid in the Neighborhood, which features Miss Piggy becoming jealous when Janice moves into the neighborhood and becomes fast friends with Skeeter, and she feels left out. But of course, it all works out in the end, and they all become friends and hang out together. This, of course, was part of a whole series of Muppet Kids books put out in 1989 by Muppet Press / Longfellow Press. Next, we have a copy of the Muppet Anthology series, Jim Henson's Muppet Stories, Muppet Babies Dream Adventures. This is the 11th book in the series, which features stories from the Muppets, Muppet Babies, Fraggle Rock, as well as other nondescript Henson characters. I really like how each book opens with Kermit welcoming the reader with this giant scroll. It's literally bigger than him. Who is reading all this? Just say welcome, Kermit. Let's scroll on by and see what else is inside. This volume features a Muppet Babies story, Baby Fozzie's Snow Pal, The Swedish Chef, Private Eye, Robin's Blanket, a maze where you can help Robin find his blanket, Muppet Babies Secrets, a flying lesson, the Muppet Babies story, The Yo-Yo, a maze of Baby Gonzo's yo-yo string, Wake Up Bear, not featuring Fozzie Bear, and a bedtime punchline featuring Fozzie Bear trying to go to bed. Put out by Funk and Wagnalls in 1991. Next, we have some finds from some other Henson shows, like Dinosaur Train, Big and Small, put out by Grossop and Dunlap in 2012, as well as a couple of Bear in the Big Blue House books, like a Comfy Cozy Thanksgiving, put out by Simon and Schuster in 2002. What I like about this book is that it features actual photos of the characters mixed with illustrative backgrounds. The effect is kind of like a Bear in the Big Blue House version of Roger Rabbit. Bear and Tutter's Big and Little ABCs, put out by Reader's Digest in 2001, is like 2 books in one, because you have the Bear side, which opens to reveal the large version of the book, but you also have a Tutter-sized book as well. And like Voltron, with their powers combined, they make Bear and Tutter's Big and Little ABCs. I also found this copy of Big Time in Bedrock, which was from the Flintstones live-action movie put out in 1993, which of course the Jim Henson Company did the creatures for. Here you can see the Creature Shop's prehistoric record player, Barney's lawnmower, Dino, and the Dictabird, which, spoiler alert, outs the bad guy. I also found this copy of the Wobulous World of Dr. Seuss, The Cat's Wonderful World, which I already did have on DVD, but not this version, which was put out by Cinedin in 2014. I really like the cover art. It's a lot more colorful and engaging than Sony's releases. This volume features the episodes The Cat in the Hat's Art House, Lester Leaps In, and The Simplifier. Over the years, they've released many episodes of the Wonderful World of Dr. Seuss. In fact, many times they've released them over and over again in different versions. Hopefully someday they will release the entire series. It's a long shot, but you never know. I almost forgot, I did find one other Muppet item as well. So here we have a cassette that goes along with the Count Me In storybook, which is a fairly rare Muppet book put out by BMG Kids in 1993. And while it did come with a copy of the book itself, I did recently find another copy of it in better condition. While that's all the books and media I recently found, I did find a few other things as well, like these two brand new and factory sealed Sesame Street ornaments put out by Kurt Adler. Here we have Ernie marching with a tuba and Big Bird riding in a car playing a flute. These were part of a parade series of ornaments with Big Bird leading the parade with Ernie and his tuba following somewhere behind. And I'm sure they would look great parading around your tree. I also found a brand new and factory sealed McDonald's Happy Meal of Zeb Zuber from Disney's The Country Bears movie put out in 2002. And of course, Jim Henson's Creature Shop made all of the Country Bears. Also, while I was out and about, I found this pair of Kermit That's None of My Business socks put out by BioWorld. So now when something crazy happens while you're out and about, you can lift up your pant leg and say, huh, that's none of my business. At my local comic store, I picked up this Statler and Waldorf t-shirt. And you know what they say about this shirt? It's not half bad, it's all bad. A few friends of mine recently made trips down to Disney World and picked me up a few things as well. Here we have the menu to the Regal Eagle Smokehouse. This, of course, is Sam Eagle's dining establishment that's all Muppet themed at Epcot. The Regal Eagle Smokehouse, 1876, celebrating the regions of American backyard barbecue. Texas, Blue Ribbon Brisket Society in a savory spice sauce. Memphis, Sizzlin' Pit Dry Rub Coalition in a classic smokehouse sauce. North Carolina, Blue Ridge Vinegar League with vinegar flavorings. And South Carolina, Old Glory Mustard Guild with sweet mustard sauce. And of course, this is an exclusive, only available at the Regal Eagle Smokehouse. Another Disney Parks exclusive is this Kermit St. Patrick's Day 2022 pin that was obviously released to celebrate the holiday in 2022. So here we see Kermit sitting in a pot of gold like a leprechaun with the St. Patrick's Day 2022 underneath, while the pot itself is surrounded by clover fields. Okay, and now on to some things I picked up online. Here we have another Muppets pin. This is released exclusively at the Disney Pins blog and features Kermit, Fozzie, and Gonzo in neon with the Muppets logo, all in a glittery background. I also picked up this mid-90s Muppet Babies mini Kermit keychain plush by Toy Play. I honestly thought he was going to be much bigger than this, but for the price I paid for it, it kind of makes sense. But I thought it was going to be a much larger plush. Then I realized it's a keychain. So obviously you can't have something that big just on your backpack. So it makes sense that it's small, but he's still really cute and I couldn't pass him up. Speaking of keychains and things like that, I also picked up this Miss Piggy Modo charm bracelet keychain thing. I'm not exactly sure what you call this. As you can see, it's quite tiny, and I think it's a Japanese exclusive. It's really cool, really tiny, and I think Miss Piggy is contemplating her being a part of it. I also got this still brand new and factory sealed final season of Fraggle Rock put out by Lionsgate. This is a title I did not pick up when it first came out because by the time it came out, they had already put out the entire series as a box set. So I didn't buy this separately. I got a good deal on it, brand new and factory sealed. So it's great to now have it separately. I also got a copy of the first issue of the Muppet Babies comic book, and it is in pretty much pristine condition. I'm not a comic book rater, but I would rate this somewhere in the 9 to 10 range. It's pretty much immaculate. I don't see a lot of creases or things like that. So it's in great condition. Great to finally have Muppet Babies #1 in my collection. I also picked up this Muppet Treasure Island Golden Sounds storybook. Now, earlier I showed you a Play a Songbook that didn't work, but I believe this one works. So here we have the anchor dropping, Mad Monty and Clueless Morgan, the Hispaniola, treasure map, Long John Silver, Kermit and Long John Silver swashbuckling, a sneaky pirate, the treasure, and Kermit as Captain Smollett. I like how Long John Silver and the swashbuckling almost makes like a rap. The book features great illustrations by Tom Lee, as well as places denoting where to use the sound effects. But my favorite recent pickup has to be this Muppet Show 1979 diary. 1979 being the best year ever because that's when I was born. The front features Kermit, Zoot, Dr. Teeth, Rolf, Animal, Gonzo, Miss Piggy, Fozzie, Scooter, Statler Waldorf, and Sweetums, while the back features the same characters from behind, as well as Floyd, Janice, Behemoth, the Swedish Chef, Sam, Mildred Hochstetter, Shaky Sanchez, and the Jim Henson Muppet behind them. The book opens with the Muppet Show logo and the newsman announcing a new year has begun. Newsflash, we have just heard that in the next year, we will be presenting New Year's Day, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, March 21st, we'll be introducing the first day of spring, and Mother's Day 4 days later. Good Friday is Friday the 13th of April, and Easter April 15th. Father's Day will be June 17th, but the shortest day will be December 22nd, unless the day before smokes. And here is a special bulletin. This year, Christmas Day will fall on Tuesday, December 25th, only 6 days before the year ends. And then, it's time to start the music, it's time to light the light, it's time to meet the Muppets in this diary tonight, followed by an At the Dance skit. And Statler and Waldorf saying, "This is the longest overture I've ever suffered. What's this show called anyhow? 1979! All right. Scooter says it's 15 seconds to curtain 1979. This year I resolve to keep my Muppet Show diary every day, to help little old ladies across the street only when they want to get to the other side, to laugh at one of Fozzie's jokes during Be Kind to the Bear Week, and more." J.P. Gross says, "Never mind keeping resolutions, they'd better keep up with the rent." And of course, the Muppets are seen making jokes throughout the year. Well, that's all for another year. What did you think of it? I don't know. I slept through most of it. The back page features framed illustrations of the characters, but not just the most famous Muppets. Nope, characters like Dogline, Uncle Deadly, and Big Mama get framed photos as well. This was released in 1978 by Charles Lett & Company and illustrated by Brian Lewis, and was only available in the UK. Speaking of things from the UK, viewer Billy Elliot sent me a care package, part of which is this greeting card. It says, "Merry Christmas, you absolute Muppet," featuring an illustration of the Muppets from the Muppet Christmas Carol, lovingly handmade by Daffy and Dee in England. But that's not the best part. Along with the card were 2 drawings handmade by Billy featuring me with Dr. Teeth, Miss Piggy, and Kermit, which Billy asked if I would sign one to return to him, which of course I gladly did. So Billy, here it is. I've signed it. It's now on its way back to you in jolly old England. And I even get to keep one for myself. So thank you, Billy, for these wonderful drawings, and keep enjoying Muppet Stuff. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Please leave a comment down below and let me know what your favorite item from this video was. Please be sure to follow us on all our social media channels, and I'll see you next time from the MuppetStuff Museum. Bye-bye.